Narcissists thrive on admiration and control. They build their world around the validation they receive from others, constantly seeking praise and approval to fuel their inflated sense of self-worth. This need for external validation becomes the cornerstone of their existence. They meticulously curate their image, ensuring that they are always in the spotlight, basking in the adoration of those around them. So what happens when they lose someone important, someone they considered the best thing they had? It shatters their carefully constructed reality, leaving them in a state of emotional turmoil. The loss of a significant person disrupts their sense of control and admiration, causing a profound impact on their psyche. This essay delves into the complex reactions of a narcissist when they realize they've truly lost someone significant. We'll explore their initial reactions, their emotional and behavioral patterns, and the impact this loss has on both the narcissist and the person they left behind. Initially, narcissists may react with shock and disbelief. The idea that someone could leave them is almost inconceivable, as they view themselves as indispensable. Their emotional and behavioral patterns often include anger, denial, and attempts to regain control. They may lash out, blame others, or try to manipulate the situation to their advantage. The impact of this loss is profound, not just for the narcissist, but also for the person they left behind. The emotional fallout can be intense and long-lasting. Narcissists often struggle to comprehend the concept of genuine loss. Their self-centered worldview prevents them from fully grasping the impact of their actions on others. Instead of feeling empathy or remorse, they're more likely to be consumed by how the loss affects them personally. This self-absorption makes it difficult for them to understand the pain they have caused. Instead of feeling empathy or remorse, they're more likely to be consumed by how the loss affects them personally. This lack of self-awareness is a defining characteristic of narcissism, making their reactions to loss particularly perplexing and often hurtful to those around them. This lack of self-awareness is a defining characteristic of narcissism, making their reactions to loss particularly perplexing and often hurtful to those around them. They may appear indifferent or even callous, further deepening the emotional wounds of those affected. This exploration is not meant to excuse or minimize the pain narcissists inflict. Rather, it aims to provide insight into their behavior, helping us understand the underlying dynamics at play. By gaining a deeper understanding of narcissism, we can better navigate our interactions with narcissists and protect ourselves from their harmful behaviors. Understanding the dynamics of narcissism can be a crucial step towards healing and moving forward for those who have been affected by their actions. It empowers us to set boundaries, seek support, and ultimately find peace and resilience in the face of adversity. The initial realization that they've lost someone important hits a narcissist hard. It's not the loss of the person itself that devastates them, but rather the blow to their ego. Imagine their carefully crafted image of perfection being tarnished, their sense of control slipping away. This is their worst nightmare. Their initial reactions are often a blend of anger and disbelief. How dare someone reject them? Don't they know who they are? This anger might manifest as attempts to regain control, whether through manipulation, guilt trips, or even threats. They might try to bargain their way back into the person's life, promising change and showering them with attention. However, beneath this facade of anger lies a deep-seated fear of abandonment. The loss of someone they valued, not for the person themselves, but for the validation they provided, triggers this primal fear. This fear can lead to increasingly erratic and desperate behavior as they scramble to fill the void and repair their damaged ego. A narcissist's emotional landscape is vastly different from that of someone without this personality disorder. Their world is often a stage where they are the main character and everyone else is merely a supporting role. Their capacity for empathy is limited, often non-existent, making it difficult for them to truly connect with others on an emotional level. Their emotions revolve primarily around their own needs and desires, creating a self-centered universe where they are the sun and everyone else orbits around them. This self-centeredness colors their experience of loss, making it more about them than the person they've lost. They often view the loss through the lens of how it affects their own life and status. Their grief, if you can call it that, is often performative. It's a display meant to draw attention, and elicit sympathy from those around them. It's not about genuine sadness or remorse for the pain they've caused. Instead, it's a calculated move to maintain their image and control over the narrative. Instead, it's about showcasing their own suffering, seeking validation and sympathy from others. They thrive on the attention and the drama they create. They might exaggerate their pain, play the victim, or even try to turn others against the person they've lost. This divisive behavior is a tactic to isolate and manipulate. This manipulation is a key feature of their emotional repertoire. They are adept at twisting situations to their advantage, often leaving others confused and hurt. They'll use any tactic at their disposal to regain control, elicit pity, or protect their image. This can include dramatic phone calls, emotional letters, or public displays of distress. They might try to guilt-trip the person they've lost, shower them with gifts, or make grand gestures that seem sincere but are ultimately self-serving. These grand promises are often hollow, with no intention of being kept. They are merely tools to regain the upper hand and manipulate the situation to their favor. Their goal is not reconciliation, but rather regaining the upper hand and restoring their sense of power. In their world, it's all about maintaining control and ensuring that they remain the center of attention. While grief is a deeply personal experience, narcissists tend to follow a predictable pattern in their response to loss. This pattern is often marked by a series of behaviors that are more about maintaining their self-image than genuinely processing their emotions. This pattern, however, is less about genuine emotional processing and more about managing their image and regaining control. They are more concerned with how others perceive them during this time of loss. It's a performance designed to elicit specific reactions from others rather than a genuine journey of healing. They might put on a show of sadness or distress, but it's often a calculated act to gain sympathy or attention. The first stage is often denial. They might refuse to accept the reality of the loss, convincing themselves that it hasn't really happened. They might refuse to believe the loss is real, downplaying its significance or claiming the person will come crawling back. This denial serves as a buffer against the initial shock and pain. This denial is a defense mechanism protecting their ego from the painful reality of the situation. By denying the loss, they can maintain their sense of control and invulnerability. As denial fades, anger and blame take center stage. They might become enraged, directing their anger at the person they've lost or at others around them. They lash out at the person they've lost, accusing them of betrayal, cruelty, or any other negative trait they can conjure. This anger is a way to deflect their own feelings of hurt and vulnerability. This blame shifting is a way of avoiding accountability and preserving their self-image as the faultless one. By blaming others, they can avoid facing their own shortcomings or the reality of the situation. Next comes the bargaining stage, where they attempt to negotiate their way back into the person's life. They might make promises or offer gestures of goodwill, but these are often insincere. They might make grand promises of change, shower the person with attention, or try to guilt-trip them into returning. These actions are more about regaining control than genuine reconciliation. These attempts, however, are rarely genuine and often serve as a prelude to further manipulation. Once they feel they have regained control, their behavior often reverts to its previous patterns. Finally, they reach a stage of superficial acceptance. They might appear to have moved on, but this acceptance is often shallow and self-serving. This doesn't mean they've genuinely processed the loss or learned from their mistakes. Instead, they've simply found a way to cope that allows them to maintain their self-image. Instead, they've simply found new sources of validation and moved on, often to someone else who can fulfill their need for admiration. This new person becomes the next target of their narcissistic behavior. The cycle of narcissistic behavior continues, leaving a trail of hurt and confusion in its wake. Each new relationship follows the same pattern, with the narcissist performing their role to perfection, while those around them are left to pick up the pieces. The fragile ego of a narcissist. It's quite something, isn't it? You see, beneath the facade of grandiosity and confidence lies a delicate self-esteem that crumbles at the slightest hint of criticism. It's like a house of cards, really. One wrong move and it all comes tumbling down. Narcissists often react with anger or defensiveness when their ego is threatened. desperately trying to protect their self-image. It's a constant battle for validation and admiration, but deep down there's a profound insecurity that drives their behavior. Understanding this fragility is key to comprehending the complex nature of narcissism. In the aftermath of narcissistic abuse, many survivors find themselves grappling with a range of complex emotions. Feelings of confusion, self-doubt, and even guilt often linger long after the abusive relationship has ended. It's not uncommon to question one's own reality and worth, as the manipulative tactics of the narcissist leave deep psychological scars. However, recognizing these feelings is the first step towards healing. Healing from narcissistic abuse is a journey, not a destination. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a commitment to rediscovering one's true self. This journey often involves seeking professional help, such as therapy or counseling, to unpack the trauma and rebuild self-esteem. Along the way, survivors learn to set healthy boundaries, trust their instincts, and embrace their own worth. It's a path of self-discovery that, while challenging, leads to profound personal growth. Empowering yourself after narcissistic abuse means reclaiming your life and your sense of self. It's about recognizing your strengths, celebrating your resilience, and taking proactive steps to create a healthier, more fulfilling future. This might involve building a support network, engaging in activities that bring joy and fulfillment, and continuously affirming your right to be treated with respect and kindness. Empowerment is an ongoing process, but with each step, survivors regain control and confidence. Embracing a brighter future after narcissistic abuse is not just possible, it's inevitable for those who commit to their healing journey. As survivors move forward, they often find a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of themselves. They learn to trust again, not only in others, but in their own judgment and capabilities. The future is filled with possibilities, and with the right support and mindset, survivors can build a life that is not only free from abuse, but rich with meaning, joy, and fulfillment.